Well, April is Child Abuse Awareness Month, and there's some myths of what people think Children's Services does. So here to talk about that is Pam Schwartz and Seth Bowersock from Auglaize County Job and Family Services. All right, so welcome. All right, so first of all, Pam, what is, Children's Services? What do they do?
So the role of Children's Services is to investigate allegations of abuse and neglect against children.
Okay, so we're going to be talking about some myths now. So lots of people have some questions. What do they do? What are some of those myths?
So one of the biggest myths is that all Children's Services does is remove children from the home. Contrary to that, however, what happens is we work with families so that children can maintain in the home. And to do that, we also seek support from our service providers, such as mental health professionals, substance abuse counselors, parenting facilitators, anger management program managers, to work with us, with that family in the home so the children aren't displaced. Because as we all know, when children are displaced out of their home, it's tragic for the kids when they could be in their own environment and they could have the connectedness with the community.
Right, so the goal is to keep them there, that's the end goal, right?
Absolutely.
If it's possible, because it's not always possible, obviously.
And, yes, and that's pretty much based off the assessment of risk and the safety to the children.
Yeah, all right, so Seth.
Yeah, so another misconception sometimes often comes when children aren't immediately removed from their home and they think that Children's Services is not doing anything. However, we can come up with different plans, a plan of safe care or safety plans that allows that child to stay in the home safely. So we can have an adult move into the home to help reduce that risk. We can actually have an adult leave the home to reduce that risk to that child. And sometimes if the home itself is a risk, we would ask those children to temporarily stay with somebody else, preferably a neighbor, a friend, a relative. The goal is we're trying to keep them in their community. We're trying to keep them in the same school, in the same services, to try to reduce some of that so it's less traumatic.
Yeah, exactly, because it is stressful, right?
Right. So in Auglaize County, we couldn't do the work that we do without partnership with our community, and we heavily rely on the information, and we appreciate all their efforts and the information they provide us in trying to keep children safe.
Yeah, it does take a village, people can't do it all by themselves. So it does take a village. No, you did mention that, it kind of goes what Pam said about, if you're keeping people in the same community or the same area, and you were saying that if people are not removed or kids are not removed, sometimes they think that nothing is being done, but there's lots of different options there.
Correct.
So
Correct.
That's a good thing. So one other thing is that I've heard that if someone calls, and says, something's happening, and then nothing does happen, or maybe something's happening, people think they might get in trouble for calling in the first place, but that's not the case, right? Like if somebody calls to report and it turns out things were okay, or things are being done opposite, but the person that called, they're not going to get in trouble for that.
Absolutely not. So we always encourage people to call. It doesn't matter how little the information they think it is. That might be the missing piece of the puzzle that we may need to try to keep a child safe. So we always encourage people to call us.
Yeah, what's the best way to report, let's say, child abuse or neglect? Is there a good way to do that?
If they're a resident of Auglaize County, they can call our agency, Auglaize County Job and Family Services, at 567-242-2700. If it would happen that you needed to make a report after business hours, that can all be completed through the Auglaize County Sheriff's Department.
All right, so there's options, there's lots of options. And like I said, it does take a community to keep children safe, and it takes a village, and hopefully that happens, and you guys are doing a great job making sure that does happen. So I thank you for coming on and conquering some of those myths.
Thank you for having us.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, well, don't go away, because medical news is coming up next.